Promise me you'll never, ever play this game. Learn from these mistakes. I want to thank you guys for supporting me on this journey. Thank you for reading through my bumbling attempts at storytelling. And apologies for this, our finale. It was hard to write this down coherently, and my crippling dyslexia and exhaustion wasn't much help either. But I hope, my Lord above, I hope you guys can learn from this. This is not a game. Never play this game, no matter who's at stake, no matter what is going on, no matter who's gone. It is not what it seems. Mile 6. The stars began to fade, and soon the moon was no longer pouring out an insatiable glowing light. It was dark, and I felt comfort. The trees seemed to grow before my eyes, trunks towering so far above I couldn't fathom their height. Your headlights will start to flicker. Your radio will turn on. The rules repeated themselves over and over, but still it was dark and silent. Was Neville giving me a break? Or was this time to repent? Time to leave? Or time to go mad? I let my mind empty. If there was silence, darkness, and warmth, I was going to enjoy it. I checked the time on my phone and saw that I'd been driving for almost 8 hours. Not possible, but this road would never end. I knew that. The temperature became hot. Unbearably so, but I kept my cardigan wrapped around me tightly. I would not be fooled. Suddenly, in the overbearingly dark night, my headlights began to flicker. But that's not why my heart skipped a beat. The radio was on. I felt pins and needles all over my body. I kept driving and imagined hauling my car into a nearby tree, just to end it all. No matter what happened, I knew I had to keep going forward. I had to reach Alex. He's been waiting for you, Lily, not long now. My knuckles felt like they were tearing apart. I kept on moving forward, but the road was getting narrower. The heat was reaching a fever pitch. Sweat was pouring from every part of my skin. My hair was sticking to my face. I reached up to move it, but jerked my hand away instead. My hair was moving, slinking its way into my nostrils. He loved the idea of you, Lily. He never loved you. The hair started to tangle behind my eyes. I could feel each strand scratching behind my eyelids. It felt like small but vicious hands were stabbing me, burying themselves deeper and deeper into my eyes. I could see them. Tiny little lines in my vision, obscuring the journey ahead. It's in your head. All of this is in your head. The voice was muffled and feminine. Then I realized it was my own. That's when the ringing started. I kept one hand on the wheel and reached up. A loose strand of hair was floating out of my eardrum. The pressure started to build up. It was as if someone was pumping a balloon up inside of each of my ears. Lily, do you think you can carry on? Sing another song. The balloons felt bigger now, and it felt as if nails were pushing into my skull. But I was going to see. No, I wasn't going to see anyone at the next mile. I wouldn't see anyone real on this road, at any mile, at any point. A sharp-pitched ringing burst through the radio, and suddenly it was Neville's voice I heard. Each letter seemed to hiss out at me. Oh, Lily, you are really so very predictable. The sensation changed under my skin, and in my head something was moving, pulling parts of my insides in directions I didn't know possible. I sneezed, feeling something dislodge onto my lap. 8-legged freaks, huh? Every single muscle tensed. Every single cell of my being wanted to slam on the brakes. Because I was wrong. It wasn't hair in my ears. It was spiders behind my eyes, in my nose, scuttling out of my ears. I had fucking spiders burrowing inside of me. There's no way to win. Not a hope in hell. Mile 7. I turned the radio off for you. The voice was behind me, loud and chirpy. I could still feel the spiders sliding on the sweat covering my skin. Don't turn around. I felt a cool hand rest on my shoulder from behind. It was almost comforting to have release from the heat. In a moment of crazed bliss, I almost let my head roll back, but I stopped myself. 4 more miles. 4 more miles until this hellish game was over. Do you think we could pull over? I'm feeling a little sick back here. The hand tightened, and I could feel long, chipped fingernails digging into me. Don't listen. Tears began to slide down my face, and I felt the hand traveling down from my shoulder to my chest. It began to push into me, working its way into pulling the skin away. I felt the pain electrify my body. Love? A silly want, a stupid decision. I could feel its breath now, the edges of chapped lips against my ear as it screamed, "It's not real, it's not human." Then I felt the squeeze. My heart felt like Play-Doh being smashed into the ground. Its hand was in my chest. It was holding on for dear life. I can taste a loss. My body was almost convulsing, but I kept my hands on the wheel, wheezing and crying as whatever was behind me traced its tongue over my earlobe. Pop. The noise was the most cringe-inducing sound I'd ever heard, loud and proudly grotesque. I looked down toward the source of the noise, my chest, and watched the mystery hand pull out my heart. Except it wasn't my heart. It was a cluster of spiders, all muddled together with legs kicking aimlessly. I looked back at the road and vomited over the steering wheel, my hands and part of the windshield. Then I heard more voices, screaming and overlapping each other. They screamed obscenities. They begged me to make a U-turn. They said things about myself I never knew I hated. And then my car began to slow. The hand was gone, my headlights flickered lazily, and the car was silent. I'll never hear silence like this again, I thought. Mile 8. Alex stood at the side of the road, a hand raised to me like a lopsided smile. I kept on going, and Alex disappeared, and then reappeared. No matter where I looked, he was there, completely taking over every part of the road. I couldn't close my eyes. Whatever had infiltrated me during the game would not allow it. It was hours, an endless loop of Alex, never moving, never changing, until around hour 3. Alex was still there, but now he was crying whilst motioning his arms for me to pull over. He changed again on the 4th hour. He was distressed now. His face seemed tortured, and it was covered in blood. His eye was hanging by tendrils from his socket and oozing a black goo. He had a sign now, with the number 4 written in blood. I heard him calling my name. Hour after hour, I heard him calling out for me, and hour after hour, I had to stop myself from throwing myself out of my moving car. After what felt like almost a full day of driving and hearing Alex's voice, something inside me died. My mind short-circuited, my very soul simply stopped. The game had taken the very last of me. My bones ached with relief. No matter what happened next, I knew that the game couldn't hurt me anymore, because nothing mattered. Nothing fucking mattered. Then, just like me, my car suddenly died too. Mile 9. I screwed my eyes shut and felt the car sputter as I restarted it. I felt the car hurtling forward almost instantly. "Stop the car!" It was Alex's voice. I kept driving. "Lily, please stop the car. Stop the car and get the fuck out. It's not what it seems." Another tear trickled down my face. "Lily, stop! Oh God, Lily, you're going to hit me!" He was screaming through the sobs. He was pleading, but I couldn't listen. His body collided into my chest, and I heard every bone crack. It's not what it seems. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. I could picture his body in my head, twisted and bloody on the road. I kept driving, leaving him alone in the cold. No one to find him. No one to help him. It's not real. 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 He's dead, Lily. This time the voice was Neville's, and it was not mocking or cruel. Even through the twang of his usual static hiss, it was calm, almost kind. "No matter what, Lily, he's dead. He was dead long before you played this stupid game. Your Alex is not coming back to you." The car shook, hitting a pothole. I bit the inside of my cheek. I felt a hand rest gently on my knee. "His desire was never you." The hand gave me what I felt was meant to be a reassuring squeeze, but instead it made my body shudder. "Lily, he never wanted you. He didn't even make it past the 4th mile. He's nothing but a shadow on the road." Mile 10. I opened my eyes and looked to the passenger side. There was no one there. I was alone. The road ahead was empty, but I knew they were back. The shadows. They were walking beside my car. I was not afraid. They did not want to harm me. They were guiding me home, making sure I got to mile 11. The game was coming to a close, and I felt as if the road had become bored of me. I didn't react when I felt something begin to violently kick my seat. I knew it would soon be over. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered. My phone rang and I answered. I was mechanical now, a barely functioning robot. Neville's voice was low and for the first time sounded human. "You got this now, kid. This is it. I hope you enjoy your prize." "Thanks for the call." Neville sighed before speaking to me again. "Lily, unless you're panicked, this is not that fun anymore." Goodbye, Neville. I hung up and kept driving. I was clean and dry. Physically, there was no long-lasting effects, and I felt a weak smile spread across my face as I drove into the final mile. Mile 11. The car rattled, all power dying, but the car kept moving. Traffic lights appeared and I let my eyes close. I knew there would be a red light. I smelt the smoke before I felt the fire, flames licking at my body, but there was no pain. The exhaustion washed over me in a wave and my body became limp. It was over. The car was going to keep moving. If I died, at least I would be with Alex. Voices came back now, but they weren't cruel like they had been before. They were celebrating. They were congratulating me. I heard Neville's voice through the tangle of all the others, and I heard it loud and clear. It's not what it seems. No place like home. I still cannot tell you how strangely calm the car ride became. I was back at the beginning of the road, eyes wide open and knowing something wasn't right. I'd survived the road. I was back to my own world, my own reality. I closed my eyes once more, tightly enough to make pain shoot across my brow. I pictured Alex, falling into his arms. I pictured him happy and smiling and alive. I pictured him gazing at me adoringly. The rest of the night was a blur. I got home to find my sister passed out in my spare bed. I checked the time on my phone and smirked when I saw the time. 11 p.m. For a few seconds, I felt my brain trying to process the journey I'd been on, which had most definitely been, or at least felt like days, but then tiredness washed over me. I kissed my sister's forehead and crawled in the bed beside her. I wrapped my arms around her tightly, kissing her again, this time on top of the head. I was home. I was safe. I woke up to the shrill ringing of my phone. My sister's voice was hushed as she spoke. "Lily, I'm so sorry I got called into work really early. I didn't want to wake you, but I realized that if I didn't, you'd probably be so confused." I sat up and stretched my arms out. My joints clicked pleasantly in response. "What do you mean?" "Well, last night Alex was banging on the door like crazy." "Alex?" I jumped out of bed, my dog following suit. "Yeah, his car broke down on the way back to his place. And since you were closest, he came here. I told him just to stay in your bed. Why he didn't use his key, I don't know. Anyway, I gotta go. Love you." The phone went dead as my sister rushed to return to her work. Of course she let him in. She hadn't known he was missing. Alex was alive. I stood at the doorway of my bedroom and saw Alex curled up in my bed, blankets piled high over his body. "Alex!" He shot up, his eyes locking onto mine. "Lily!" He clutched his chest and fell back into the bed. "You gave me a heart attack." "Sorry for just showing up. You wouldn't believe the last few days." Before he could finish his sentence, I had thrown myself on top of him. I sobbed into his chest. My entire body was heaving into his. He rubbed my back and attempted to soothe me as best he could. Alex called his family and friends. He told them they were mistaken. He'd gone wild camping and fucked up. I watched as he laughed with them, apologized to them, and walked around my house without a care in the world. Once he was done with his explanations, he sat next to me, holding my hand tightly. Did you play the game?" My voice was quiet and shaky. Alex raised an eyebrow. "I really don't know what you're on about, babe." His voice was sickly sweet, but his face, my heart sank because I finally saw it. How could I have missed it? On Alex's forehead, ever so faintly, was a number 4 with a line through it. I continued to stare at him, studying his face closely, and saw what looked to be an old scar just underneath his eye. Alex never had a scar. He kissed me then, full on the mouth, and I kissed him back. For a moment that golden glow from the road filled me again, but then as he broke our kiss with a smile, I felt like one of the sunflowers I had watched die. "I'm going to get a bubble bath running for you. You look tired." He walked off, shooting a wink at me as he did. So, this is the part when you all send me congratulations and rejoice that I won the game. I got the top prize. Thing is, this isn't Alex. The man who is currently lying next to me, snoring away, is not Alex. He looks like him, sounds like him, and fuck, he's got the laugh down too, but it's not Alex. The Alex I went looking for never loved me. We had a fleeting moment once in his car, but when we spoke about it, we found it meant different things to each of us. He was lonely, and, well, I was there and willing. He got a girlfriend and began to leave me behind. He pushed me out when I admitted drunkenly at the start of his new relationship that I was in love with him. I'll never know why he played the game. I'll never speak to him again. Alex is dead. I got what I wanted, an Alex who loves me, but it's just not what it seems. I can't live like this. Goodbye, guys. I've got a new road to take.